Hello, SPED 503. I am going to continue our discussion from our week 3 lecture, and I am going to go over the task analysis and data driven instruction. So let me go ahead and start slideshow, and that will give us the subtitle feature. Okay, so we are going to start this part of our lecture with the social learning theory. And so I'm not sure if anyone has heard about the Bobo doll experiment for any of my psych students, or if you took any psych undergrad classes or whatnot. This was actually an experiment by Bandura in which adults modeled aggressive behavior towards a Bobo doll, and children actually were observed to copy those same actions and replicated those actions on the doll. So what does this tells us? Well, tells us a couple of things. It tells us that individuals definitely learn by observation, and so when we put it in perspective in terms of the population that we serve, students with autism definitely learn from modeled behavior. So when we look at modeling behavior, that's actually an evidence-based practice, and modeling behavior leads to faster behavioral acquisition than reward or any punishment interventions that you may provide. So many of you have heard of video modeling, and if you haven't, it is an evidence-based practice. It's one of the 27 EBPs that we discussed during our week 3 lecture. And video modeling, honestly, it's what it is, as stated by the title. You record either the student engaging in appropriate behavior, and then you show that video to the student, thus exposing them to the appropriate behavior you want to increase, or you record or get videos of another student that is a similar age level, grade level, gender, and you kind of break down the appropriate action that you want the student to emulate. Okay, so video prompting, when we look at video prompting as an intervention for behavior support, we look at the following. The video can be broken into chunks. There are many different apps that can help you with chunking the video into manageable parts. Video Toad is actually an app that breaks down the video into sections, and depending on the student's cognitive level, ability level, the student can watch one part of the video at a time. And it's definitely better for students who have working memory challenges, because again, it's visual. So how do we implement video modeling? Well, the first step is to determine what are the necessary prerequisite skills for this intervention. So before we even attempt to implement this, we need to look and see what are the skills the student needs in order for this to be an effective intervention for them. Next, we need to select the target skills. We need to see what are the skills that we want to shape, because those are the appropriate ones. Then we need to develop a task analysis and script. We deliver the intervention, and then, as you guessed it, we monitor progress and make data-based decisions. Okay, so selecting a target skill. Oftentimes we have students with very challenging behaviors, and we feel that when we're told to pick 2 to 3 behaviors you want to work on, you're like, how? The student has so many challenges. How am I going to narrow it down to 1 or 2 target skills? Well, the way to help you make that decision is by kind of following the following question prompts. The first question you should ask yourself or your team is, which skill will be beneficial to the learner? Next, will the student be able to learn the skill? Is the skill we want to increase the appropriate skill? Is it observable and well defined? We definitely do not want to target skills that may be a little ambiguous, because then it's not going to be clearly defined for the student. And then the biggest question that should guide your choosing of the appropriate skill is, will it improve independence for the student? Will it help support their self determination and ability to be as independent as possible? Then we go ahead and create a task analysis. So this is the part where I would have you go into your breakout rooms and you would have 7 minutes to break down one of the following: writing, getting dressed, making a sandwich, or using the restroom. So when we are creating a task analysis, we are looking at one activity and we are breaking it up into steps. So let's say, for example, getting dressed. The first step would be to wake up, get out of bed, go to the closet or your drawer, pick out a shirt, pick out pants, put on the shirt, put on the pants. See where I'm going with this? So we take an activity and we break it up into manageable steps. Then we go ahead and see, okay, which of the steps can I combine? And the reason why we kind of look at that is because sometimes an activity will have up to 30 steps. So we definitely do not want to overwhelm the student with so many steps. So you kind of look, and depending on the student needs and their abilities, is it possible to combine some steps? Or again, depending on the student needs, do we need to separate sub steps? Okay. And you use the task analysis with another adult and to kind of check for the accuracy or completion. So honestly, all that means is, okay, I've broken down an activity into 10 steps, and now I'm going to have an adult follow the steps the way that I wrote them. And again, this is just to double check and make sure that it's clear for the adult, because if it's clear for that adult, then it's going to be clear for the student. Okay, now here are the prerequisite skills that you need to ensure are in place. And the reason why I say this is because even though there are many evidence-based practices, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a good fit for the student. And so every EBP has prerequisite skills. So the prerequisite skills for video modeling includes the following: can the student attend to the video? Can they actually see the video, meaning that they do not have a visual impairment? If they have a visual impairment, then this may not be the best avenue to support them through. Can they read if you are writing directions? And if not, what can we do to kind of get through that barrier? Can they hear if you are using audio? And if not, do you need to caption? Can they read? So it kind of goes back and forth. You also need to look at the student's cognitive level. Are they going to be able to understand what's happening? And so I would say that for the most part, cognition, yeah, it's important, but going over a visual many times, and especially a video, it's pretty successful for many students who have cognitive challenges. Also, language, are they able to understand the spoken language, or are they an English language learner to where this is going to be pretty difficult for them to understand? Other prerequisite skills to consider include, are they able to view on a device independently, or are they able to access the video? Perhaps maybe they'll access the video with support and then slowly fade it out to where they can access it independently. Are they able to adjust volume if there's any challenges? And again, these are just prerequisite skills. There's definitely ways to circumvent if there's some challenges with this. Okay, so that was kind of that bit on task analysis. So if you want more info on data-driven instruction, I highly consider you to complete the IRIS case studies, which are posted under the extra credit activities. I'm telling you, I